everyone, this is Samantha, and today I'm going to be building a maternity clinic for my Pleasantview Sims. I previously built one of these that also had delivery rooms because I'd had Chris Hatch's hospital mod installed that allowed Sims to choose whether they wanted to give birth at home or at the hospital. I ended up uninstalling that at some point because it conflicted with another mod that I have. I do have some usable pregnancy tests installed, and I use those super frequently. I'm impatient when it comes to waiting to find out whether or not my sim has gotten pregnant, so sometimes I just use the sim blender to check on the status of that. But sometimes I like to find out with my sim, hence the purpose for the pregnancy tests. Not to mention it adds to the realism for me. When I use the pregnancy test, though, I find that sometimes they're inaccurate. Sometimes my sims will get false negatives, and I think that could be a glitch of some sort, but I actually love that because again, it feels super realistic to me. Having a maternity clinic would be great so that a sim could maybe confirm their pregnancy at a facility and maybe find out how far along they are by using the sim blender's feature. It's pretty basic. I usually include a small kitchen or cafeteria. Not always, but sometimes, depending on how much space I have. I always add a comfortable waiting room. I like it to be as cozy as possible to make the Sims feel comfortable. You never really know someone's situation, whether it's a couple that have been trying to get pregnant for a long time, an unexpected pregnancy, or even a teen Sims pregnancy. I typically include 2 unisex bathrooms. I have pregnancy for all in my game, so males can get each other pregnant, and it happens relatively frequently in my gameplay. I typically have 2 ultrasound rooms. I used to randomly generate the sex of the baby, so I could have parents plan the nursery ahead of time. But that grew to be tedious, because each time my sim gave birth to a baby, if it didn't end up being the right sex, I'd have to quit without saving, and reload the lot up 10 times. I fully embrace my non-binary and transgender sims anyway, so sex really isn't a super important aspect to me. So previously I'd used the decorative ultrasound machines for that, but not really now. I usually put a couple exam rooms. Typically this is where sims would get their blood drawn, find out if they're pregnant or not, and sometimes this is even where IVF would be administered. I play with IVF in my game, and for me that isn't a mod or anything like that. It's more of a creative, set of rules, if you could call it that. Each round is 25,000 simoleons, and I'll basically put 3 choices in a generator. Negative, positive, negative. If sim rolls a negative, then that round wouldn't work. If they roll a positive, then they get pregnant. About 25% of all my pregnancies in the game will end in miscarriage. It kind of helps with population control, as morbid as that sounds. So then I'll put birth, miscarriage, birth, birth in the generator. And if it comes up as birth, then they'll have a baby in 75 hours. If it's miscarriage, then I use the biological clock that comes with teen to cause them to miscarry. I can't do that for males, but I definitely use it for women. I also used to have Midge the Trees mod that gives a chance of your sim dying right after childbirth. It conflicted with another mod I have, so I had to kind of make my own type of chance game for that too. There is a 10% chance that your sim will pass away after the baby's birth. It's only happened twice to me with this hood. I think I lost Delaney Burb and Alex Steampunk after they gave birth due to this. It's not really very common, which is good because it's really sad, but I like a little tragedy in my game sometimes. So this is a happy medium for me. So we'll have a section where I'll have a desk or something so Sims can donate 25,000 using Monique's hack computer if they'd like a round of IVF. I usually only allow 1 a day, and if they aren't financially capable of affording it, I periodically do fundraisers in the community. So each family I play for 1 round will choose to donate if they can, and the cause is to raise money for the less fortunate to get IVF treatments if they'd like. Right now we have about 40 of those treatments left for less fortunate Sims. I usually add a counseling area for Sims who are considering adoption. For adoptions where it's using the in-game feature already available, or having one of my other playable families adopt another's baby. It'll cost 25,000 simoleons that are to be collected using the donate option on Monique's hacked computer. Originally planned on building a little cafe area for guests and expectant mothers, but after the fact, I decided to turn that into a little room for kids if they have a parent attending an appointment here. Here you can just kind of see me picking out different things for the bathrooms. I'm utilizing the slots to add extra things to the shelves, and I'm just trying to get a calm and cool color scheme that can be calming for Sims that are visiting the clinic, just to find out whether they're pregnant or not, or to see how far along they are. My main goal was really just to have everything be as calming as possible. So here you see that I'm kind of laying out where I want everything to be, what makes sense, what doesn't make sense. Sometimes that involves sticking furniture in to make sure it will fit and changing the color scheme of everything later on. As I've said, I really did plan on having a small cafeteria type of thing for the expecting moms and dads and anybody who really wanted to come. But I decided against it because I realized that I only had one extra room, and I really wanted that to be like a child's play area because I really couldn't find a good corner of the room in the waiting room to make that. So here I'm just trying to pick out decor for the little hallways. There's lots of little hallways. I love those doors. Those are the unisex bathroom doors. I don't remember who made them, but I do know that Two Fingers Whiskey suggested them on Pinterest. And I just thought they were so cool. I hate the gendered bathroom doors that the game comes with. And here I'm just kind of setting up like a front desk type of area. I didn't end up making an area just for Sims to pay for IVF treatment, so they could always sit there and probably pay there if they needed to. Again, I just wanted it to be calm coloring and lots of aquariums, pretty things to look at to kind of calm the nerves of the Sims that are coming in for their appointment. Here I'm beginning to piece together the break room. I have two very small break rooms for employees. Realistically, these will never actually be used, but they're pleasant to look at, and it kind of makes sense that there would be break rooms considering this is a facility and people work here. Plus, in my mind, I guess the doctors and I also have a custom career for midwives in my game, so anybody like that would probably work here. So just for realism, it's nice to think that when they go to work, this is where they're going. So yeah, they should probably have a break room and bathrooms and everything like that. In here, I'm just making the waiting room. I wanted it to be bright to give people the hope of having a bright future, but at the same time, I didn't want to bombard them with bright colors. So I'm just kind of trying to make it neutral and trying to make it a pleasant, homey type of place. And here I am just placing medical posters throughout all the hallways where it's appropriate. Those are going to be the ultrasound rooms where I'm putting the expecting posters up. I'm actually later on going to swap out those ultrasound machines for a newer version. I believe it's a Sims 4 conversion. They don't work, they're not functioning, but they are perfect for storytelling or something like this where you want to give off the illusion that you're having a maternity ward. These are just the rooms, the waiting rooms where people could get an exam or find out that they're expecting. These are the counseling offices I spoke about earlier. It just includes a desk, a chair, and a couch. And Sims can come in if they want to maybe choose adoption, or they want to adopt, or they're wanting to give their child up for adoption, that's where they would come to kind of discuss it with a social worker. And I do have a custom career for social working in my game, so I definitely have a lot of Sims who are social workers. So logically thinking, realistically, I can't do anything with it, but it's nice to think that this is where they're going when they go to work. And here I'm just placing the rest of the lights because I realized that I hadn't yet and I really needed the light to work. Yeah, sometimes it's a little tricky to see what you're doing when you can't really see the nooks and crannies of each room. Here I'm just playing around with different color schemes, trying to make things fun and light for children that want to come visit, which mostly is me just trying to figure out what I have and what I don't have, what will fit, what won't fit. I didn't like how that looked, so I didn't keep it. And these are the balloon conversions. They're Animal Crossing conversions. I don't remember who made them, but they're lovely. And I'm sure that I have the link somewhere if anyone's interested. But they're absolutely wonderful. And here I'm just getting the ultrasound rooms ready so that there's room for up to 2 guests as well as the patient in the room. I also recently downloaded the Sims 4 to 2 realistic birth mod conversions. I had the original ones years ago, but I really like the look of the conversions because they look so smooth and so realistic. But since this isn't actually a facility where people can give birth at this point, I figured, what's the point other than, this is just, it's safe to assume that everyone in my Pleasantview has home births. And at some point, maybe I'll make like a regular hospital so that they have that option whether they want to have their baby at home or have their baby in the facility. But for right now, I don't think there's a need for that. Here I'm just playing around with lighting and windows, mostly windows. I didn't put a lot of windows in because I wanted people to have their privacy, because I feel like sometimes in my game when a sim is pregnant, it's kind of scandalous. So if there's a teenager who's pregnant or just a sim outside of a marriage, it can be a bit taboo. So I kind of wanted everything to be super discreet so that if a sim is coming in and they're pregnant, it's not like a huge ordeal. It's not going to be a huge neighborhood scandal. So here we have those IVF rooms I spoke about, and it's just like a gynecologist chair as well as a spinny chair, and I think later on I actually go in and put a lot more in there, but for now I'm just placing wallpaper for everything just to kind of pull it all together before I finish color schemes and things like that. I wanted something light and fluffy for the children's room, something neutral for the bathroom, and of course just trying to keep that whole feeling of this is home, this is cozy, you're safe here. So here I'm trying to just find like a happy color for the linoleum in the hallway, as well as carpeting for the rooms that should have carpeting, linoleum for the rooms that should have linoleum. Just trying to be accurate as far as what kind of flooring things should have. Then I kind of messed around for a while trying to see if I wanted to place anything on this little sideboard table thing, but I actually decided against it. I don't actually think I decided against it. I'm pretty sure I put some fruit on it for the people visiting. And then of course a coffee machine for the break room, even though I think I went back and added it later. Because I don't think I originally put condiments in that one, but in the other one I'll put a coffee machine because it makes sense. like a coffee maker. And here I'm just changing the countertops, make it a little brighter, a little less hospital-y. Just, again, wanting to really, really stress the whole feeling of this is home, this is comfortable, you're fine, you're going to be fine. Please be comfortable at our facility. And here I'm just picking the colors, kind of basing them off of the color scheme of the posters. Just wanting everything to look as concise as possible. I really like those medical posters though. I think they're really, really cool. And then just matching the flowers to match the table, not necessarily the scheme of the posters. And then here I'm just adding the finishing touches. I'm adding posters to each room. Nothing too scary, things that would make sense. And here I spent like a solid 3 minutes going through all of these wonderful, wonderful pandemic era signs and posters, wall writing. They're all very, very convenient. I'm sure I'll be using them in the future for other things, but not quite appropriate for this lot in particular. But I could see myself using them again in the future. But I kind of settled on that one about washing your hands, and I applied it in a few different places because I think people sometimes need a reminder of how to wash their hands. And then I picked some of these, and I absolutely love this wall art. I think it's so comforting, and I want to say I probably use it in most of my households. And then just a calendar, nothing too like medical. I mean, I know it's a medical facility, but something that kind of makes you forget of where you're at. And that looked a bit too cluttered, so I got rid of that. And then I focused on putting something in the bottom right corner, left corner, not right corner. And here I'm just changing colors of everything, preparing the actual color scheme of the rooms, anything that I missed. And here is where I decide to go ahead and throw a coffee maker into the first break room. And here I'm just checking to see what I haven't done yet. And for the Ivf rooms, I realized that I actually hadn't completed them at all. So you see me putting down the industrial countertops, some garbage cans for medical waste, trying to find certain things. I have syringes I've placed here, placed some more ultrasound machines, just to kind of see what's going on to make sure that everything has been placed correctly during the procedure. And some test tubes to collect things or for other IVF purposes, just to make it look kind of realistic. These rooms don't look very homey. They definitely look a little less scary than I feel like they would in real life, but at this point I realized that I didn't really put sinks anywhere except the bathrooms, and that cleanliness is very important when you're touching people. So I went ahead and added sinks to all of the rooms where I felt like it would be appropriate to have sinks. And then I'm just checking it over, making sure everything's good, adding these little, I think it's soap, but I just pretend that's hand sanitizer everywhere because it's important to clean your hands. I don't play my game like with COVID, but I'm still a germaphobe, so it's nice to just have that little bit of realism. Then I thought, this looks kind of bare, what can I do? I threw down some of the Iron Garden Animal Crossing conversion tables here just because I thought they looked really nice with the scheme. Then I'm going to toss some sim blenders down just to, keep everything in check. And then I realized I forgot to add doors. So here I am adding all the doors to the various places where they need to be. And it's all done. I've rezoned it. Thank you so much for watching. I'll include pictures at the end of what it looked like at the end, and thank you. See you next weekend.